Hey guys, so I recently finished my cabinet build for my Honda Element camper. It's a solo camper. This build will be a solo camper. And I'm going to take a trip to Quartzsite soon, and I won't be able to finish the build before then, but I do need to get a working bed before that trip. So, the camper should be functional, and one of the things that you're going to need for a functional camper is a functional bed. And I got the solution for that right here. And no, I'm not just going to use this chair. I'm actually going to modify it. So let's give it a shot. So this fully reclined chair actually does a pretty decent job of being flat. And, it's really nice that it folds up and folds down flat. And also, it folds up nice and neat like this. So when you need a little bit of extra room to store something, or to transport something, you could put this chair up. But as far as a bed, it's just not there yet. It's not long enough and it's not flat enough. There's a little thing here. So what I want to do is I want to take this frame of this chair. I want to take out all the upholstery and build my own bed here so that I can have a functional chair that has a seat belt too, so that it could still be used to sit a person with a seat belt. And I want to make it so that it folds up nicely too. So the frame of this is going to provide me with that also. But to do that, I need to kind of hack the chair up and take out all the upholstery. So let's give that a shot. All right, so I got the chair off, and I actually have no idea how to take off the upholstery on this. So I'm going to figure it out as I go along. But it seems like there's a hook right here that I could start with. All right, with some digging around, you could kind of lift that up, and you could see there are hooks here that hooks onto this part right here. So what I'm going to do is just slide out all those hooks. All right, there, that exposes the zipper. Looks like it should be easy after that. Okay, so we'll have to take off this. Let's see how that comes off. Okay, so for this side, I was able to just peel it back and go over that. Let's see if I could do the same for this side. This side's a little bit bigger. Let's see if we could just do one side at a time. All right, there we go. Peel it off. All right, so now it looks like there's something over here that's holding these things in. It's like there's some hooks or something right there. You see that? Another one here. So it looks like, I think the best thing to do is just to pry open those rings. Okay, see that? And if I need to get it back in, I'll have to just crimp it back together. But for now, I'm just gonna pry them all open like that. And there's a few more. 3 total on each side, looks like. All right, got that out. Oh shoot, there's something in the middle here too. But let's do this other side first. Then we can expose the middle better. Alright, so I got a screwdriver to hold the other side. You can see the rings. Alright, so I got this side off too. Got both sides, but now there's this middle bar I need to take off. That one looks like it's held with a spring here. So let's see if I can unhook that spring somehow. Alright, so for this spring, I'm just gonna kind of twist it and unhook it. Okay, that's free. And do the same for this side. All right. Okay, that's off. Okay, so now with this foam, I think it'll just come off. All right. You can see it's got a nice frame that I could use. Good. So let's take off this bottom part. So for the bottom, I assume it's something very similar. There's some hooks on here that I need to get off. Yeah, it looks like I have to take this off first. So let's take that off. It looks like there's some clips. Alright. Okay, you gotta pry that off. It hooks around here. Just kind of work your way off. We'll do the same to the other side. One here too. Okay. That was much easier than the first time. You just kind of bend that and pull it out. All right, so let's take out these bolts. Number 14 ratchet. All right, it looks like there's a spring here that I should probably try to unhook first. So as soon as this one came off, that spring wants to give. Yeah, I'll take out the bottom side first. We'll see if it's easier to take out the spring after that. All right, now let's see. All right, that spring came off real easy once you take out the bottom side. All right, so looks like here's the seat belt, so we're gonna have to take this cover off too to take out that seat belt. Let's see how we take this off. This looks like it's gonna pop off. Go. See, it's just a pin right there. Same for this side. Gotta find that pin and lift it up from there. What's holding it together in the middle? All right, looks like there's some peg. this right here, I just took the screwdriver and popped it out. Okay, now we can take off that seat belt. All right, looks good. Put that aside. So now I think we could start taking this stuff off. All right, so I assume it's this part right here. All right. Okay. Yeah, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It comes a, I was pulling the wrong side. Okay, that's off. Okay, so there's a bar right here. Looks like we could push it, snap it through. All right, see these things? It wraps around that bar. All right, whew, that's a little bit of work to get it out of this bar. I want to find the zipper right here. That should make it easier. All right. All right, up here looks like there's another one of those things that hooks on. Okay. And down here it looks like another bar thing. Unhook it from that bar. This hooks to that bar. Okay, down here again we got those little rings that we'll have to take off, so let's take those off. All right, so I got these rings off, and again we have this type of clip here in the middle. Okay, so it looks like we're also going to have to take off this backrest. So let's take that off too. That side is just straight bolts, no big deal. But this side looks like there's a pin that holds it all in. So let's try to hold it with one side, this screwdriver. All right. Okay, so that's what that pin looks like. It'll snap back in. So now, it will slide out. Okay? I'll put this right here just so I don't lose the bolts. Now we can peel off a little bit more. There's some Velcro for these little child safety hooks. There. Okay, so more of those rings I need to remove. Don't come out easy, so you just gotta work. All right, let's get them all out. All right, there's a strap right here. That strap comes out on this side. So I'm gonna pop that out. Okay, it's a plastic pin. That comes out there. Now we can start wiggling our way out, removing all the stuff. So another bolt we need to remove is this guy right here, because it looks like this fabric is pinched underneath. It's a number 12. Alright, I guess you could have just cut that if you really wanted to. Okay. Looks like we're almost there. So remove this side. Let's see. Let's see how this is held in. Trying to figure out what's holding this cup holder thing in. Okay, get this thing through. This little pull handle, it's gotta go through here. Oh, I see. You could pop it. Little plastic. Now we can pull it through. Yeah, I think this whole thing will just come off now. Let's see. The seat belt. Caught on this. There's a ring here that holds this strap, but it's just barely hanging on, so I'm just going to yank it off. All right. All right, and that's how you remove the seat cushion off the frame. Of course, we'll have to put the backrest back on. All right, so now I'm gonna reassemble everything with all the hardware, just without the cushions, and then we'll put it back in the car and see what it looks like. That was a lot of work, but the frame is empty. So now I could actually build my bed onto this frame, which will work like the old chair will. It'll recline just like the old chair, which is exactly what I wanted. I could build my bed based on this frame. Okay, these come out easily. You just kind of pinch one in. All right, so if I could get a board right across, resting on these things right here, on that bar back there, then that should be pretty level. Of course, it's not going to be one board, it's going to be two, because I want the chairs to fold still. All right, so I got this piece of wood. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it around here so that it's a little bit wider back here, and I'm going to extend it so it's a little bit further back too. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so I cut that contour there. It looks like I'm going to have to cut a little bit of a thing here too for this. Yeah, we'll make it slide in, kind of like that. So we'll need to cut a little bit right here. Alright, that looks like it fits pretty nicely. Got that cut, and probably be something like this. All right, so you can see that there's an angle that slants down, so I have to elevate this board something like that to make it level. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a block on the back side of this, so the block sits right on top of that, so it elevates it. So I put these risers on it, and hopefully that'll make everything nice and level. I think that looks pretty level. All right, so this is another one of those make things up as I go along moments. So I think this part is actually good, but what I should have done is I should have just cut a notch right here so that there's a piece of wood that sticks right here too. I was thinking I could just put something on top, but you know what, I'm just gonna keep it one piece, and then just have a little slot for this. So I'm going to throw out this piece and cut another one. All right, I think this is better. You see, it fits in that slot. And once it's elevated, it's going to be something like that. So it'll be, the cushion will cover that flush. All right, that looks much better. I probably could have been slightly more aggressive with the slot, but it's good enough. I'm not going to cut another piece of wood. Okay, so let's try to mount this up. So looking for ways to mount this to the back. So what I see is that this headrest slot right there, if I could just put a piece of wood right there and lodge it, screw that in, that'll keep it from moving around up and down really well, because this is very stable. And then I'll put some kind of pin or screw or something in there, and maybe even on the back side too. All right, let's give that a shot. So I got those two pieces of wood, and they're gonna wedge between this guy and this bar right here. We'll sit on those two bars to help level it out. All right, that actually wedges in really nice. All right, that's what it looks like underneath. You can see it's wedged in on that headrest holder. Now that we have the up and down sliding this way taken care of, because it won't go up or down because it's wedged in, I need to make sure the seat doesn't fly forward, so I need to have some kind of clamp here and clamps down there. We'll figure something out. Right, so in my junk drawer I found a few things. The good news is this little clamp here, I think will work perfect. It'll just kind of hold everything in. I think the size is right. And for down here, I have this conduit clamp, which will also fit perfect. The bad news is I only have one in my junk drawer. So either I'm gonna live with one, or I'm gonna go out and buy another one. And looks like I have to go out and buy another one. You know what, I'm lazy. And this is actually holding so well. I just put in one, and one day when I'm at the Home Depot, I'll buy another one, but I'm not gonna run out just for that little thing. Okay, so for now, this part is done, the back side. So now I need to work on the front side. Oops, I forgot. This is not done yet, and the reason is, see that, how slow it is? This is so heavy. This is much heavier than the original padding that it's, you know, it takes a little persuasion for it to pop up, and I do want to reduce the weight. So I'm going to drill some holes to reduce the weight. All right, that was a pain in the butt, but I hope the weight reduction was worth it. All right, so that looks good now. So now I need to do the seat side. All right, so for this side, I needed to make room for the seat belt and this little latch puller thing for the back seat. And here, I need to cut a notch because this is gonna come up when the seat comes up. See that? And it's gonna hit, so I need to cut a notch there. And it's hitting this little bar here, so I need to cut a little notch there. All right, so I got that notch, this notch here. This is good. Right, so you can see there's a little bit of leveling difference, and then the wood is on this right here. So I'm gonna need just a little bit of a riser to level it out. And I think this piece of plywood is gonna do the trick. So I got those little pieces of wood in. Now you see it's much more level. All right, good. To hold it in, I'm going to use the same thing I used on the other side, which is these little brackets. I don't even know where I got it from. Sorry. But we're going to put it right there. And we're going to use two of them again. And that should hold pretty well. So those brackets are in. We'll slide them in there. All right, another little hiccup. I can't actually slide it in because right here it's getting caught on this, so I'll probably need to trim just a little bit more so I could slide it in and take this out, or I could probably just screw it on when it's underneath here. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just take off the screws, put it back on, and then I'll screw it back on underneath. All right, well, I did something pretty stupid. As I was trying to mount this bottom piece up, I was going to lift up the chair, and I just noticed my door can't close. I was a little too aggressive with how much wood I had out there, so I'm going to have to cut it. All right, so I made the cuts to get the thing back up. So I lost a few inches here, so I'm going to have to build a new power box, and that will also have the extended bed, and you'll see what I mean by that. Okay, so this side I got those brackets here holding against this rail right there. You can see it. And what I need to do is I need to mount the other side of the board on this guy and that guy over there. He's going to be a little bit of a problem because he's kind of hard to get to in there, but we'll figure something out. Not going to be the most elegant solution, but I have these 90-degree angle brackets, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to smash them. And that little divot there should provide a good slot for those child safety seat rings. That actually worked out really well. There's the brackets there. Tight squeeze here, but there's the brackets on that side too. All right, let's get this thing back down. So that's in now, nice and tight, no issues. The bracket close, of course. It's got plenty of strength to hold my weight. This is rather thick plywood. It's probably thicker than I prefer to use. But now, you know, before the element seats were not flat, you know, there's a little divot and it was just tough to get around. But now I have a flat surface I could work with and I can make a good bed. What I'm going to do back here is I'm going to rebuild my power box and toolbox. We're going to make it a little bit higher so that it goes level with this. I'm going to have a cover that fits right over this guy right here. And that will be the extension of my bed. And when this thing goes up, that part stays down, but it'll always be the cover of my my toolbox area. So I think that'll work out well. So I cut this slot for the inverter so I could access the ports and it'll vent. And this is for my DC ports, you know, the USB and the DC ports. So that's gonna go right there next to the inverter. I got the ventilation ports and the DC ports will go right there. So let's screw everything on. All right, that's the way it is, looking good. I put some pocket screws so the look will be nice and clean. So let's set everything back up again. All right, so it fits nice and secure inside there, and it's resting right along the chair, so it's not going to slide forward. But there is a problem that I did know about. If you look, you see there's a little flex in this cover right here, and it's not on the bottom in the middle, it's just on the ends. Which is fine if you don't want to move this at all, but since that's my spare tire underneath, I do want to be able to just slide this whole thing out and get to the spare tire when I need to, and I can't just slide it out if, you know, if it's not coming together. So I'm going to put this sheet on underneath, but I'm not going to drill it all the way around because there's a sag there. I'm just going to drill it right here, so it'll be kind of like a rug, you know, that comes in and out with it, and everything should slide with it fine. All right, you can see there's that flex right there, and I'm able to slide everything out, and this sheet will flex with it. So that's going to work out perfectly. I can take out slide out all my gear and access my spare tire. So I cut around the battery, and I had no margin on top. I would have liked to put the cover on top of the battery, but the battery is just about as high as I could go without the chair hitting it when it's in the fully reclined position. But that's the way it'll look. All right, so now we got that. So let's populate it. All right, I got all the wiring back. You can see my battery is cut through because I needed that space. And there's my storage, so I could I still have some room to store some junk, and that folds tight in like that. Okay, so now I rebuilt my power box. I need to continue working on the bed. Now you'll see why I spent so much time making a really sturdy box, because I'm going to extend the bed right here. I'm going to have to raise this a little bit to get to this high so that we can make the bed extend here, and that won't be part of the folding bed. All right, for the top part, the extension of the bed, I made this little storage tray, and when you put this down, it'll fit like that. So now I need to put a cover on this top so that it'll be flush with this, and I have doubled this little area. I also made it a little storage compartment where, you know, I could put some small items in there. All right, so I put on these brackets right here, so that will allow this thing to stay right there. See, it's not going to move around. And I have an extra storage box on top of that. You can see it's level. So now we'll continue with the bottom, with the feet end of the bed. This will be the head end. we'll continue with the feet then. In the episode 1 video, I had removed this front seat, but I had to put it back, and I need to keep it on for a while longer because I need to use this car for 2 passengers for a little bit for various reasons. But now we're going to work on an extension right here, so you know it's tall enough to fit me as a bed. But while I was looking at that, one thing I noticed is that I could add some extra support right here. So if I wedge in a piece of wood, there's actually some holes down there too. So I could screw it in, and that'll give me some extra support on this front side. So that'll be good. Let's do that first, and then we'll decide how we want to do this additional platform for the bed extension. All right, so I got that block in there, so that's going to give it some extra support on this end side, so that's good. So now let's put it back down. So for this extension, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to put everything underneath here. If I could store the extension underneath here, if this is somehow wide enough for my leg extension. And you know, for in this scenario, it only needs to fit here because I have the refrigerator there. We'll see how that goes. Got these really thick ties right here, and I'm going to, it's longer than it needs to be, but I don't want to go out and get a smaller one. It's what I have laying around, so I'm going to use this, and so I can latch it on to one end of the bed. I need some bolts and nuts for this because a screw won't be strong enough to hang on to it because it's going to be, you know, pulling down on the screw. If it was weight going up, you'd be fine, but this is going to push down, so we need some bolts. All right, so here's the way it'll look back here. It'll stand on top of that, and I'll put a pin in one of these holes so that it doesn't slide over or anything like that. And I cut this piece here. I cut around the contour of this plastic piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on those table hinges again so that this could fold up nice and easily. But before I do that, I want to reduce the weight of this, so I'm going to drill some slots into this thing and drill some slots into the bottom piece. All right, so I put some slots in there. Not the cleanest thing, but it'll be functional. So let's install it up. I think that looks pretty good. So now I just need to put some pins to keep it in so, you know, it doesn't slide out that way. But that's a good bed extension. All right, one final thing. So I don't want this to slide around, of course. I want it to stay put, and I'm going to use this nail as a pin for holding that in. So we're going to drill a hole, and then we'll use these nails to keep everything in tight. Okay, got these holes drilled. You can see the nails will fit like a pin, and when they're in storage, it just sits right in there. All right, perfect. It's gonna be real nice and stable. And when you want to store it, take out the pins. Just leave the pin in there. Close up the extension. This extension hopefully will fit right underneath here as I planned. Wow, real tight. There's the fit. So that's gonna fit in there. I mean, that's all the room I had. You could see it's just, I used every inch of room I had. So we're just gonna put a strap to keep it from flying out, and that should store away really nice and neatly. So next up, I'm gonna sand down all these sharp edges, and then we should be done with the bed platform. So for the seat belt, I need to have a little thing to kind of hold it in place. I don't want it to fall down that slot and you'd be searching for my seat belt all the time. And I mean, this one's a little bit easier, but I don't want to fish out for him either. But so we'll probably use just some paracord. Put a little thing right here, a little slot, so that it doesn't slide down there. And here's the paracord. I just kind of just screwed it a little slot for it. So now the seat belt won't slide down. It'll just fold over like that when it's not in use. This guy, he's actually pretty easy. The strap is right there. I'm not going to worry about him, you know, getting lost and I can't fish him out. He's actually quite easy to fish out. Okay. One last thing, I need to put a border right here, just a little bit of a lip so that the cushion doesn't slide around. So when it's in, you know, it stays put. One last thing, I need to sand down all the sharp edges, and then that should be it. All right, so it looks like my platform bed and bench is done. The cushion will come in a later video because I need to make a custom cushion for it, but you can see it's actually quite functional. You know, I still have some headroom because I'm using the bench, and the nice thing is that it is still fudge. All right, so now I'm all done with my platform, bed, and bench, and the cushion will come later. That's in a different video where, because I need to make a custom cushion, but for right now, the bed and bench is done. And you know, the beauty of it is that I can still use it as a chair. It still has the seat belt and it still has the mechanism. That makes the Honda Element so handy. So I could still put up the chair just like you could with the old upholstery. The whole mechanism is here, so all the safety things are still here, like the seat belts and all those things. So I have the flexibility of putting it up when I want to have a big item back here when I'm transporting something big like a bicycle or something like that. I should have the space back here to still transport a bicycle. And in the case of an emergency, I can actually use it as a third passenger seat because the seat belt is still functional. But in addition, I made some storage under here. We'll take a look at that. So again, I have my storage box, so I could store a few items in here. But also underneath here, I have my battery and my power station. And of course, there's still some room for storage all around too. So back here, to extend the bed, I would take this out. It's just this table bracket right here, a folding table bracket. I have some pins to hold this in. Let's take a look at it. That gives you a better shot at what it looks like. And when this table is in, it acts as a bed. This is 72 inches. It's 6 feet long. Here's the way it looks from this side. Let me lay down from this angle so you can see how much room I have. I'll move my feet all the way down. I'm 5'8", so now my feet's back against the chair. You can see I still have a few inches. But for the most part, you know, this will be down in bench mode. I'm not really going to have another passenger here. So it's more like in a case of emergency. So this would be a bench serving as you know, where I would eat and things like that. This extension I'll just keep underneath the seat. Oh, I forgot to mention underneath I have my power ports. So here's my cigarette lighter adapter, USB. Here's the power meter. And here I have my inverter. See, you see it's exposed. You turn it on, access the plugs. Nice and easy. So there. So there's my new platform bed. I used the existing frame of the Honda Element that allows it to fold up real nicely. And now I have a flat sleeping surface to sleep on, because you got, if you own an Element, you know the chairs may lay flat, but the surface itself is not flat and even.